we are going to take a look at vibrato. That is a very handy thing. I've shown a number of examples on here so far. It's a slightly tricky maneuver, but it helps. It helps polish things. It helps give flavor. It helps give depth. And with it, you can take something relatively simple and make it sound a whole lot more engaging. The basic concept is, to be perfectly frank, you're going to be opening a doorknob with your left hand. It is a grab and twist kind of a thing, except we're not going to be grabbing a doorknob like we normally do, where you put your hand on it and then you turn. We're going to be grabbing it with our fingertips, because we are in fact cellists and thereby a little strange. And then we're going to be rotating it this way. So instead of a hand on top rotating with force to unlock perhaps a sticking door, you're going to want to grab with the fingertips and then rotate this way. This is what you're looking for. Kind of like you are grabbing the bottom of a soda can and you're rotating the soda can. Same kind of concept. With that, you will have kind of a rocking, rotating motion, and that should give you a general introduction to it. Best way, at least for me, my second finger pivots the easiest, just because it's close to the center of my hand and it's stronger than my third is. So what you're going to want to do, pick a note. I currently am on E flat. Put your thumb directly underneath your second finger in this case, and then play it, and then roll your hand forward, and then roll your hand back, and then roll your hand back to the center position. Together, under one bow, it sounds like this. Again. I'm using too much bow. So we're going to try that a little bit faster. And then a little bit faster. And then a little bit faster. And we're at finished tempo. Each of your fingers is capable of vibrato. It's hard to get good vibrato out of the last two fingers, your ring finger and your pinky, off the starting block, just because they are traditionally less strong than your other two. But fourth finger vibrato is very important. So what we're going to do here is we are going to run through most of the major variations that you run across when playing. I prefer vibrato on the lower strings just because it's a little bit easier and it feels like I've got more in my hand. Usually you're going to find it more on the upper strings. It works just the same on like the D or the A. You'll also notice that the vibrato usually doesn't stay a constant tempo through. You'll usually have so you'll either have some change in vibrato speed, starting from none working into some. Vibrato speed changing while volume is changing, perhaps from a piano to a forte. The other direction is also possible. But let's go ahead and start. We'll start with the basics. Vibrato on four fingers. So let's go ahead and pick the D string because it's nice, it's light, it's easy to play. Doesn't take quite as much concentration as the lower strings. So let's go ahead and start with the first finger. So start in, usually for the best wide vibrato, you're going to want the thumb fairly close to underneath the finger that you're doing it with. In practice, it's better to have vibrato available wherever you happen to be. So we'll start with just standard playing position. will pick the first finger. And then it'll start standard position, roll it forward, roll it back, center position. And it's still this feeling, but you're just concentrating on the first finger instead of the second finger. Okay. Again. A little bit faster. A little bit faster. And then at what I'll call a finish speed. Keep in mind, you're super slow. Just sounds like you're going into and out of tune. So you're generally going to want a little bit faster tempo, but in terms of vibrato. But go ahead and join me on this one, and then we'll move on to the other fingers for a finished vibrato. And it is definitely funky. Apologies, I've still got a bit of a cough. It's definitely funky, definitely takes some time. My explanation is very simple, but it will take some practice. Okay, so it'll take a lot of practice, if I'm being completely honest. Second finger is going to be basically what we just practiced. Starting in center position, roll it forward, roll it back, center position, again, center position, forward, low, center. If you notice, what you're basically doing is you are adjusting the string length so that you quite literally go into and out of tune. We're just doing it quickly enough that it sounds nice. So let's go ahead and run through the 4 kind of stages with that. All together, individual places, but we're taking it nice and slow. A little bit faster. And then up to finished tempo, let's say. You'll notice the entire instrument does move. That's to be expected. Let's go ahead and try third finger. Third finger's starting to get a little bit rough. Again, it's easier if you slide your thumb. So normal position, let's say, it's easier if you slide your thumb a little bit forward to be underneath there so that you can roll and do what you need to do. So first, center position, forward, low, center, again, center, high, low, center. Then all in one bow, nice and slow. A little bit faster. And then finally finish tempo. Fourth finger is much the same. It's just even harder to do because there's less support. My apologies. So fourth finger on the D string. Nice a nice in tune G there. Center. High. Low. Center. Again, center. High. Low. Center. All of that under one bow, nice and slow. The last two do take some practice. Let's go a little bit faster. And then finally, finished. Usually for that, my thumb does slide up, and my other fingers are a little bit closer just to give it a little bit more support. Some of the other interesting things that you will see when it comes to vibrato and where you need to be, it is possible to do double stop vibrato. vibrato on two different fingerings on two different strings. And then shifted vibrato works much the same. However, your thumb, with its anchor right there at the neck, is a lot easier. Let's see. And then occasionally you will run across where you are playing an open string and then playing a lower string with vibrato. That is also very possible. One of the things that I have run across that makes life so much simpler is occasionally when you're playing an open string and it calls specifically for an open string. You can't really do much with that, right? You can sometimes get away with fingering the same note underneath. So I am playing without bowing it. So I am holding the same as the open A on the D, so your first finger shifted position, while playing the open A. And you can still catch a little bit of that. So it's kind of funky. It's not quite perfect. The effect is definitely there. Unfortunately, you can't do that with the open C because there's no lower string underneath it, but do what you can. If you're doing an open, you can also do the fourth finger above it, so the octave. So as a last kind of thing, something to practice with, let's go ahead and do a 2-octave C major scale with vibrato. Normally, while you're doing scales, you are checking intonation, and if you're intentionally, that means that your intonation is solidly out the window. So, let's go ahead and do a C major scale, which is just 0134, 0134, 0124, 0124. Or 012, my apologies. But let's go ahead and work on the vibrato with that as something that you can practice, and it gets all 4 fingers. You practice your first and your fourth a whole lot, which are the 2 most common, and then we can go from there. So go ahead and join me. 2 octaves, C major scale, and then vibrato on every note. We're not going to really take it at any particular pace, just kind of focus on what you're doing. We'll take it nice and slow. 3, 4. thank you very much for joining me, and yeah, I will catch you soon. Enjoy the vibrato, definitely practice it, and it is something that takes a while to master, but once you have it, it is a wonderful tool to be able to add color and emphasis and stylistic expression in whatever piece you happen to be playing. Just don't play it in Baroque because they used terrace dynamics and they didn't really do vibrato, and it makes the purists pull out their hair and scream. So, yeah, with that, happy practicing. Have a good night.